Hey guys, so it's the end of the day. You've just watched my journey to work, and now this is my journey back. I thought it would be interesting just to continue this, try and stay in the flow of just expressing myself. So in what you've just watched, I was talking about the possibility or the notion that some people have said in a few of my videos, and you might be an ENFJ. What makes you think you're not an ENFJ? I can tell you now, there's no way I could be an ENFJ, simply because I am just too much of an introvert, because I am pretty goddamn exhausted, to be honest with you. And the reason is I've been FEing and extroverting all day. I've been working alongside a chap who's quite a bit older than me, and you know, I tailor my. He's got a pretty. He's got quite a personality, and I tailor my personality to kind of be able to be jovial with him and joke with him and stuff. But it just got to the point where I just kind of like, he talks a lot. He talks a lot, almost constantly. And I detect that he actually has quite a lot of feelings of loneliness inside of him, and also I know that he has there's a sense of anger, like a seething anger underneath his surface. He's got a very jokey, banter style of communication, and you know, almost not taking anything seriously. But I've realised with other people who have this personality as well, that usually it's almost a defence mechanism or a way of distracting themselves from something that maybe they feel uncomfortable about. And I feel this with this guy as well. But he's lovely and perfectly fine hanging out with him and working with him. But it just made me realise, you know, how much of an introvert I am in the fact that I can only convincingly and use my FE until I just get completely exhausted, and I feel like that now. And yeah, that's why I can't see myself as being an ENFJ, even though, you know, they share the same cognitive functions as INFJ. Just the introverted thing, and the fact that I just feel exhausted from being extroverted, and that I just get to the point where it's like I almost depart. Like, I'm there talking to people, but I almost notice that even the facial expressions I do and stuff, even having the energy to maintain that starts to go, and I feel like, people might think I almost look dead inside. And I just depart. I just go back into my NI kind of dream world, dream state kind of daze, you know, just become completely distant. And I think people kind of find it a bit confusing, or I imagine they do. They find it a bit strange, you know, how they can be talking to this person who seems so, you know, open and chatty and seems very engaged in the conversation, and then suddenly the opposite happens, and I kind of, like I say, I just kind of withdraw from that. And I think people find that they're maybe a bit weirded out by it, and people usually ask me, are you okay? Are you okay? And it's just like, yeah, I'm fine. I just need to go home. I just need to go somewhere quiet. I just need to stop talking, and I just need to get away from other people for a while. Then I'll be all right. But as long as I feel trapped amongst being around someone where I feel like I have to keep on extroverting, I just get really jaded. So yeah. And this is kind of the reason, I think, that one of the reasons it prompted me to make those videos that I uploaded recently about accepting yourself as an introvert, because I'm starting to realise that I have, you know, really pushed myself almost intentionally not to be introverted, to feel like I need to prove myself as being extroverted, because I think naturally I am quite an outgoing introvert. But it doesn't take away the fact that just in terms of pure energy, I really need that alone time. I really do, and that again has been quite a paradoxical thing I've found. But anyway, one thing I was talking about in the video this morning on my way to work was this thing about the importance of FE expression for an INFJ. Now, I don't mean that necessarily in this fact that INFJs need to just start talking to people all the time in terms of that respect of FE, because obviously you just get you hit your peak with that, you hit your limit, and you need to go and recharge. What I'm talking about is the importance of INFJs being able to express their inner NI world and everything that influences them, that comes from that place. Sorry, it's a bit of an awkward junction I'm at now, so I'm just got to concentrate. And yeah, it's very important for INFJs to be able to do this, to give them some peace or give them some respite from NI, which is always on and can sometimes be quite overwhelming. And when an INFJ doesn't allow themselves to have this means of expression, and that can be writing, that could be artistic creativity, or maybe even making videos like I'm doing now. I still class that because I quite enjoy doing these videos, and I find that it does give me an outlet for my NI to flow through and to come out. But the problem is with INFJs is they are very easily distracted by TI, and this obviously is what creates the NI-TI loop. TI is great in terms of helping you wade through everything that comes up through NI and introverted intuition, and I find TI is pretty good when it comes to writing out explanations or kind of persuasive descriptions of things that, or just trying to convey certain things, because TI is what is kind of like the fact checker. I just can't talk anymore today, I'm just done. Is the fact checker, which allows you to look at the information that you're wanting to convey and check that it makes sense and stuff, and it's one reason why INFJs can be very good writers. Well, it's why INFJs can both be very informative writers, but also can be very artistic writers if they're writing more from their NI and just allowing themselves to flow. And that word flow is the all-important word when it comes to an INFJ, tapping into their creativity and tapping into their expression. It's all about flow, and when you're in an NI-TI loop, that stops you from flowing, that restricts you from flowing. And even when I make these videos, I've noticed that when I watch a video back that I've made, so often I delete it, or even sometimes I've uploaded videos on YouTube, and then I watch it back and I'm like, no, I don't think I like the way I'm coming across, or how this is sounding, or the thing I'm trying to explain hasn't come out right, and I delete the video. I've done that quite a lot. But when I get into flow, when I allow myself to get into flow, when I get out of my own way, it feels good. And if I can do that enough, then I start to feel like, almost like I'm doing something with all of this stuff that masses in my mind throughout the day, all this NI insights and visions, and I don't know, just it's hard to explain. But I feel like at least I have an outlet for that. So that's what's so important for INFJs to do, and it will help balance you out. Because otherwise, if you're just using your introvert intuition and your introvert thinking, you're just introverting all the time. And that isn't, you know, it's sometimes it feels good, and, you know, go into hermit mode or whatever, and go off and try and figure the world out, figure out the universe, figure yourself out. But eventually, okay, a bit quieter now, but eventually you'll just drive yourself insane. And this is my theory as to why INFJ is the hardest type to type, both for themselves and for other people, because I think the problem with INFJs is because of having introverted intuition as their dominant function, this creates this sensation of almost not having a self. And the only kind of thing that an INFJ has to latch onto when it comes to trying to figure out who they are, probably the first place they go to figure that out is their FE, you know, the auxiliary function. But because it is the auxiliary function and it's not the dominant, how I find anyway, is when I use my FE, it always feels kind of hollow to me. You know, I can come across very, you know, I can, like I say, I can change myself, I can alter my form of expression as I'm talking to a person. And I can play many different roles, but it always feels there's a sense of hollowness, and I guess that's my NI, introverted intuition, picking up on that kind of, or feeling that sense of maybe inauthenticity, or what feels like inauthenticity, because there's so many contradictory behaviours that arise from being in FE whenever you're trying to interact with people, or being social, or being in the outside world, because you're constantly changing yourself. And, you know, NI picks up on that lack of continuity. So then you feel impelled to figure out who you are, and you go off with your NI, and almost feel like you're being led or inspired by your NI to figure out who you are, and you go off on this search because you just there's some deeper meaning that you need to understand. There's something that if you just figure out some certain things, it's all going to fit together, all going to piece together, and you're going to figure it out. But the problem is, what usually happens is this will lead you into the NITI loop, because then you start coming across information, then you start going toward leaning on TI heavily to try and validate this information, to do more research, to try and find that one piece of information that is going to finally explain everything, and is going to explain yourself. But the thing is, the reason that it's almost a fruitless task is because the self you're trying to find is the self that is doing that in the first place, because you have NI as your dominant function. So you're kind of chasing your own tail in a weird way, because, you know, trying to find yourself in NI is like just that is kind of like feels like you're chasing shadows constantly. But yeah, that's kind of my theory why I think INFJs have such little solid sense of self, because their sense of self is derived on things that are just almost exist outside, or well, just have such a strange way of manifesting themselves, and constantly change, constantly shift. I mean, it's all stuff that's coming from the subconscious mind, you know, you have no control over it. So as soon as you think you've got it, you figured it out, something else arises, and you're just like, oh gosh, what does this mean? And you go off chasing that, trying to figure it out, trying to understand it. Yeah, but anyway, like I say, I'm pretty knackered, and so I'm going to go inside and recharge my batteries and do whatever I need to do. But I shall talk to you tomorrow, because I'm going to try and keep this daily form of expression up to see if it works, you know, and to see where it would lead. And possibly there might be some exciting things in the future coming up, so we'll see where it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching me. Hope these videos are somewhat enjoyable or informative. Speak soon.